All right, how's everybody doing out there today? My name is Max, and this is Music and Beyond with Max Scialdone. And it's been quite a while since I've done any episodes. It is now March 1st, 2019. I'm a little older. I'm not a little wiser at all. It's been about almost 4 years now since I've done this particular episode, and I kind of stopped doing them all at the same time around that time, and I wanted to do them, and I just kind of didn't have the time to do it, and I'm hoping to do them again, and with some all new guests, some returning guests, and I want it to go well, and I'm excited about doing it again, and I hope to keep doing it. I have a bunch of excellent guests coming up, planned in the calendar already, and I hope you check it out. These are just fun conversations between musicians. Again, as I used to say, it's about what made things funny between us and about music and just albums and gigging, and not just music though. Now I kind of want to expand more into any kind of art of any kind, comedy, getting comedians on the show or anything like that. And I'm looking forward to what's next with it. This episode in particular is quite an old episode, actually, 2015. And I never put it out. This is with an excellent singer and friend, Tim Moyer. You might know Tim Moyer from Gridley Page or Gridley Page Naked. You've seen him at the casinos and things like that, along with many other places through the years in the area and other places. As I said before, this is quite a bit old interview, and I didn't want to not put it out because I thought it was a great interview, and it was probably the first time him and I had a real conversation, and I thought it was great. I mean, I'm still trying to. I'll be honest with you. I'm still trying to make this into something. I'm trying to work it out, and these intros are kind of clunky. I know it. I know it is. I'm a bit of a space cadet. It's true, but I'm working on it. I am honestly working on it, and who knows if I can ever fix it. But you know what? It doesn't matter. But the interviews seem, I always really enjoy them very much, and that's the reason why I'm doing them personally. So, anyways, here's the interview with Tim Moyer, and this was, as I said, let me look it up here. It was August 19th, 2015. So here's the interview. All right, what's going on out there? Welcome to Music and Beyond. Today, I was lucky to talk with Mr. Tim Moyer. How you doing, man?
Good, man. How are you?
Not too bad. How are you?
We are living the dream.
Living the dream. What's been going on with you lately? What's happening?
Just playing a lot of shows. Just doing the gig thing.
What's anything coming up anytime soon? Sorry, don't get distracted.
Okay, that's all right.
This is all for me, just for questions and
that's
stuff.
All right. No, we've got a...
and this is an uncensored show, so you don't have to worry about...
oh, great. Very
yeah.
good. No, I'm usually good with that. I'm usually good for one curse or two.
Well, I feel like if people... What I've been noticing is if they don't know that it's uncensored, they'll they might think too long instead of saying...
Yeah.
Instead of dropping the F-bomb.
No,
it's like, who's going to say it first?
We've actually got a show coming up Friday that's going to be... actually, I really don't know too much about it. It's the one where they blockade off Columbia Street to Genesee Street. We're doing that K-Rock event. This is
Gridley Page. I know that people might know the name, of course, and put the name with the band, but just to be on their
radar.
Yeah. Well, just so that way we...
Right. And then after that we got next week we got Celtic Harp, which is the last show on Varick Street for the summer for us. And then Saturday night we've got an ARC fundraising event for the Arc of Oneida County, actually, which is going to be in Rome at the golf course. which is a great event. Actually, I'm getting involved with that.
Can I sit on this?
Absolutely.
So I can see these questions here.
So, and then after that, we got a regular casino gig, and of course, Odd Fest, which everybody's talking about too. So.
Oh, you guys are playing that?
Yep.
That's cool. I should look into that. I don't know a lot about it. I haven't.
They've got two stages. You really should get in touch with somebody.
Check it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, what's tell me all the members of the band of Gridley Page with the names.
Well, right now we got Matt Gudritis, who's actually the guitarist, keyboardist, who I've been playing with since the beginning of time. I think it's lasted more than most of my relationships with women. Actually, I played with him since Culprit and Ulterior Motive, which is 20 years ago, 25 years ago. So we've been together for quite a while, and then he's on guitar and keyboards and backing vocals, and then I've also got Walt Butler, who's been in the band for quite a while as well now, too, almost 10 years. On bass and vocals, and then I've got the man Dave King, who was actually from Syracuse, a well-known guitar player, and then
which we had a long talk about already.
And then he's one of those guys that's all the metal guys know who he is because he plays with Joey Belnagna from Anthrax. So I mean, to fill these listeners in on that end of it, but he was one of the runners-up for Ozzy's guitar player too. So I mean, he's a very talented guy. And then the newest member of the band from 2 years ago, Sean Dunn, on drums and vocals, who really kind of the unit of guys that we're playing with right now is just we love to be on stage and play, because I mean
the right group of guys.
It's the right group of guys too. I mean, we're all in our 40s actually, and Dave and I've had the conversations like name any guys our age that are doing what we're doing, playing as much as we're playing, and playing out in the crowds in front of where we're playing from. Most guys our age are in the back corner of a Holiday Inn playing, Blue Suede Shoes at this point in time.
Yeah. It's a good song.
Yeah, exactly, but, it's not really my cup of tea, either that or a wedding band. It's just, and I'm not the wedding band kind of type of person to say, okay, you know what, can't do it, so.
I'm just a little let you know what's going on. I asked him to turn the fan off, and now I'm sweating and I'm drinking a hot coffee,
which is always good. But it's Dunkin' Donuts coffee. That's the key. So.
It's delicious. It is. I am enjoying it.
It's the dark roast one. So.
Dunkin's going to owe us.
Yeah, money exactly. For this tonight's show is sponsored by Dunkin'. I mean, it's all I drink. It's the choices to go to. That one or Utica Roasters is good stuff too.
Yeah. That'd be cool to get maybe someday I could figure something out.
Get a Utica Roasters sponsorship.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. See what
coffee's awesome.
I mean,
They should sponsor me. I drink enough coffee to keep Dunkin' in business pretty much. So.
Roasters or Dunkin'?
Either or.
Either one.
So.
But you're not drinking coffee now.
I'm not drinking it, but before you came here, I had the iced coffee thing going on my desk. So.
Yeah. Well, so then I caught you post coffee, and I'm mid coffee.
Exactly.
So, how long were you guys together for?
Matt and I have been together for 20 plus years now, between the bands. I mean, there was only a 2-year period that, he wasn't playing with me, actually toured Germany with another band, so. Other than that, Matt's been on my side for forever.
That's, it's cool. Sorry, I was thinking of a question and trying to listen. I have a problem with multitasking a little bit.
That's all right. I do too.
Yeah. So how about, are you guys doing any writing anymore or no?
We all still write. Every single one of us do. Collectively, haven't done anything together, but now there's been talk about us actually really trying to bring all the ideas together. We played together for, this group of guys has been together for 2 years, now that Sean's in. So we've been talking about it. Like I said, it's just trying to find time in the schedule to do that, because we don't even rehearse anymore. Can I tell you how we learn a song? We get to our casino shows about 7 hours early, because protocol at the casino has you there for sound check at a certain time, and you have to be sound checked by 8. So we have like 2 hours time frame where here, learn these 3 songs, and that's where we learn them. We come to the show.
So you do kind of
rehearse.
We kind of rehearse. It's just 2
Pre-show,
hours
yeah.
pre-show. It's like here, but I mean now we're learning stuff like here, play "Come Sail Away" by Styx, which normally people would be like, Styx, it's going to take time to do. No, we'll learn at the show.
Well, if everybody does their homework and
yeah, it's basically we'll run through it. If there's a rough part, it's like okay, go back into this section and we'll tighten that part up, and then we usually, if it sounds good, we play it that night.
So, tell me about your your entrance, I guess, into the band. Did you already start talking about that?
My entrance into the band started a long time ago, back in the 1600s.
1600s.
No, it started a long time ago. I was actually.
What era was that?
I don't know.
Was that the when they had the which one?
Pre-crap. Actually, I was originally one of the Beatles. No, actually, it actually started a long time ago. I was a drummer.
And,
yeah, I was a jazz drummer. I went
to
school.
This is what I honestly wanted to know. Like these things where you're like, what?
I was a jazz drummer.
I had no idea.
I went away to college. I went to SUNY Morrisville. Believe it or not, I was in their jazz band, their collegiate jazz band. From the time I was a sophomore in high school, I'd come in. And
you weren't singing at all during this time?
I was singing in high school musicals and stuff like that at that point in time. Nothing really to do with voice. I mean, I was going to be a jazz guy. I was just going to move to New York after that and just play jazz. That's what I wanted to do.
That's a tough one. That's
an even tougher bracket to fill. And I remember when I went to school at Morrisville, the Doc Humphreys, who was like pretty much a legend when it comes to jazz too, who was in Morrisville of all places. I was going to go to Fredonia. He's like, no, come here. I'll put you in the jazz band. We'll go to. I'll guarantee you we'll go to national championships. We went to national championships for jazz that year, my freshman year. So it was pretty cool. But then I got sidelined in. I was working at a convenience store in my hometown of Madison, and Kurt Kemp and Matt and Todd came in and asked me to play with them in this band. And I'm like,
drums?
No, they asked me to play. I played piano as well.
Oh, okay.
So he asked me. He goes, you playing it all this summer? I'm like, no, I'm just doing it. He's like, why don't you play? You play piano too, right? Yeah. And he's like, why don't you come and play with this band I'm playing with? So I just started doing that, and I sang off the mic. I was singing backup harmony or something, and they sang. I was back in that day. I was a Richard Marx fanatic. It was the only rock stuff that I listened to. That and Hall and Oates. So I would play all these Richard Marx songs.
I was just listening to that on the way here, Hall and Oates, by the way.
Which one?
I think it was there was. Well, just probably the hits, but it was Man Eater.
Great song.
What's the other one? What's the other one that I've really been liking? Private Eye.
Oh, that's a great song.
Watching you.
Great stuff.
I'm learning that currently.
So basically, I sang at rehearsal, and they asked me can you do some songs? So I started singing with the band, and then becoming the front man on that end of it, and.
So they kind of heard you, and they were like, "Oh, that's pretty good."
Yeah. And it was just basically, I was a drummer. I wasn't trained to be out in front, and I was going to be the guy sitting behind the drums and not saying a damn word, being the shy guy, and ended up becoming the loudmouth front man.
I have to say that a lot of this, when I talk to like singers and stuff, the story's never, oh, I've been singing. Forever, and I was trained. It's always like, well, I didn't know I was going to do it, and then I did it. I mean, it seems like no one seems to have.
Nobody starts out going, hey, yeah, I'm going to be the singer, because usually those guys are the ones that are tone deaf. Yeah, it's true. Some of those guys that started out the singer for that band originally was like, oof, really? No, and then he, like I said, we just ended up. From that, I joined. A couple of the guys left that band, and we started a group called Culprit that we started playing at the end.
Well, what was that? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but the guys, when they came in, what was that?
The group was called, I think, Fantasy.
Okay, so
such a different bad band name. Fantasy. So then we became Culprit after that.
Sounds like a strip club.
I was going to say, that's what I would have thought. And then we became, like I said, we went off and became Culprit, and we were the first ones.
That's kind of a cool name.
Back in the day, it was back at the end of the '80s, back when all the hair band '80s stuff, and and all these guys were playing all the hair band, Bon Jovi, all that kind of stuff. And here we came along playing Smells Like Teen Spirit, Pearl Jam, and stuff like that. And started playing that stuff because it really fitting my voice at that time. And it's what we did. We started getting our chops up and playing 5 nights a week. I think we were playing more than we were practicing because that's basically where you end up practicing is on stage to get better.
It's a good thing, though, I think.
And it was. And then, like I said, getting my chops up to become a front man is really basically I would watch videos and try to analyze what these guys were doing and mimic and copy and then try to develop my own little thing on that, which did work. And then we became Ulterior Motive after a short period there, and then...
And that was with, you said it was with Matt through all this.
Yep. And then, like I said, Matt left when Culprit became defunct, whatever. We went our separate ways for a while, and I started Ulterior Motive because I ended up with mono. I ended up being sick with mono, and I had to be out for 2 months.
That's a fun one.
So once I was out for 2 months, those guys went off, and the leftover members, Kurt, Matt, and Todd at that point in time went off, and they formed a group called Liquid Purple, which was good in this area. And then I started a new group called Ulterior Motive with Mike Tallarico, Sean Kelly, and Dave Borgia, and who actually is Walt's brother-in-law.
Okay.
So it was kind of one of those things where we started playing the local club scene and doing that, and then we started writing, and we got really close to a record deal at that point in time, and Dave leaves the band.
Yeah.
And I got a new guy. Matt came back to the band at that point in time. Sean left the band, and Jeffrey came in, and that's when we became Gridley Page. And kind of that was after a 2-year hiatus from, we were still playing, but it was, dropped off from, being shopped at that point in time until Gridley Page came along, and our drummer at that point in time, Russ Riley, wrote pretty much a lot of the material. I think out of a 13-track CD, I donated 2 tracks, and he donated the remainder of the tracks. We went and recorded, spent a boatload of cash recording it, and someplace in the middle of the Catskills, and recorded this CD from start to finish. Was really they were all to get inside Russ's head at that point in time. Russ was way ahead of his time. Just was one of those guys that was writing Maroon 5 songs with intelligent lyrics and a little bit more intricate parts 15 years before Maroon 5 was out. I mean, it was just like, we're looking back at it now going, wow, we really should have listened to him a little bit more, but we all thought he was like out of his mind, like, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. And he was a little out there. And then we wrote the Believe album, which had the title track Believe, and that was the one that got the record company's interest. And it just was a pop. I dumbed everything up, became very pop oriented, and had I was listening to so much Butch Walker at that point in time, and just went with his writing style of big hooks. The verses don't have to mean anything in the early 90s, because, I mean, really, they didn't. And it's like, it was.
But they were still good.
They were good songs. But you know what? I just kind of took that approach to it, where it told the story, but had huge hooks. The verses made sense and sometimes didn't make sense, and that was the one that really kind of grabbed the attention. It grabbed the attention of K-Rock locally, 95X out of Syracuse. They started spinning the stuff, and then we got attention to play Woodstock 99, and basically...
How was that?
That was awesome. We played 5 spots before Vertical Horizon, and nobody knew who Vertical Horizon was except me, and I was so jacked on seeing those guys that there was like, this is awesome. Who the hell are they? Like, they're awesome. They're going to be huge. Awesome. And I remember being young at that point in time going, this is going to be awesome. These guys are amazing. And then after that was Insane Clown Posse. As a matter of fact, we were parked right behind their tour bus. Our guys stayed in the equipment truck, and as soon as they opened the doors, there was 2 gigantic Insane Clown Posse heads staring back at them because they slept in the truck that night. But Godsmack was there. Nobody knew who they were at that point in time. I remember them having like this milk truck with the album picture Godsmack written on the side of it.
That was their
that was their tour tour
Shit.
van. I mean,
I
you
remember
see-
when they come out.
You see some of these guys pulling with stuff like, really? This is what you guys are coming in with? You guys have got one song on the radio, and
Yeah.
it was cool. That was an experience.
How was the process of how did that come to be, the Woodstock 99?
There was a congressman, a local congressman, that was a fan of the band, and he loved the track "Believe," and he loved the other tracks, and
that was the first one or the one.
This was just our stuff that we were playing out live. We weren't even signed to a record label at this point in time, and he was just loving the music that we were playing, and we took the Cars approach, as I said before, where you play half the night cover, half the night original.
That's what the Cars did.
Cars did that. That's how they got their start. They would play as a cover band / original
And
band.
throw their
and mix it, intertwine, go right from, Sticks into something, two of their own songs back into 3 cover songs, back into 2 and 1. I was playing 15 to 17 of our own songs a night, and nobody knew it.
Right.
We were just pounding it in their pavement, where if you're an original band, trying to get them to listen to 15 of your own songs in this area is not easy.
No.
But if you intertwine it with mixed in through the whole night, you're getting your own satisfaction going, yeah, we drove 15 to 17 of our own songs in the heads of everybody, and they didn't even really know it. They're bopping along to the songs just like after Jesse's Girl, we'd play Believe or Runaway or something like that, and it'd still be dancing. So that was the key, is trying to find that groove to make it transition song into song, and that's what we would go with. But he was a fan of the band, and I remember he took us to a meeting where they were trying to get some local bands on it. He begged for us to be on the thing, and he got us on it. His name was Ed Revere. He got us on there, and then after that, we were able to play it. And 2 days later, we were in New York City playing a showcase in front of, Sony Records, Atlantic Records. Basically, it was 25 people in the audience, but they were all record execs.
How was that exciting?
I was scared as hell. I'm not good with small crowds. I'm good with big crowds and being energetic and everything. Plus, we had a fill-in bass player, Gary Sablewski, who was actually in the group Fat Now back in the day. They were in the group in the 90s. He was filling in for our bass player at the time for this showcase, and that was the showcase that got us signed, is because they saw that we were at Woodstock, 2 or 3 days before. They wanted us on the record label, but they liked the songs.
That would have to be. I would think that would be a good place to have that.
Oh yeah,
It
was awesome to have it happen. But I thought,
did you guys party and hang out, or?
When you go with your management company in New York City and you go meet with record execs afterwards for the process of being potentially signed, you're pretty much partying at a strip club. I remember my dad, who was the business manager at that point in time, and my attorney and my vice president of the management company, and one of the groups from Coward, which we were good friends with, and Billy and everybody. Everybody was there. We were all sitting there. The record companies were sitting there, and we're all I'm trying to carry on a conversation with them, because I'm really excited about this. Yes, there are naked women that look like they jumped out of the page of Playboy, but it's like trying to take everything seriously with boobs in your face. It's one of those things where it was interesting, but it does. That's where some of those meetings do take place, and then you get the offer a couple weeks later of what they're offering, and like I said, it was great. Being signed, though, is what we talked about, is not everything that it's cracked out to be.
No. So they're probably like, so Mr. Moyer, wait, hold on a second, I gotta tip this.
Hang on, I gotta tip this tip in my face. So it's like, and it's something about seeing your dad with a boob in his face. It's just really not.
This is a weird day.
It's a weird. Oh my god, this is really weird. And we were all hungover the next day, and we had a showcase the next night for another record company. And it was just when you get up to the point where you're showcasing in New York, it's awesome, but it's also one of those things where you'll go in front of. You'll literally play in front of 5 people, 10 people, 25 to 40 people.
I think that those smaller shows, and when if there's a small amount of people watching, it's like like if they're really like watching though, they're not like hanging out and doing their thing. They're like watching to see what's going on with you. Sometimes I feel like that's like even more intense than like a big.
It is. As a musician though, you would like a little more people there to kind of get into it, just so you kind of I feed off the energy of the crowd kind of thing. So
because if there is none and you're trying to manufacture,
and you're trying to get that, you're trying to make that energy. It's tough.
And no matter what, it seems like it's forced if it's like that. You know,
and you don't want it to be forced.
Yeah, and it feels weird.
As I've gotten more mature,
and they know it's weird too.
And they do. Like I said, as you get to be more mature, you'll know how to play the part, and it's not for that. So you're making the energy, and it's not forced.
Right.
Basically, is what I'm trying to say. So it doesn't come across as forced.
You have to enjoy it in a certain way
right.
too, so that way it's not, because if you're just there to enjoy it no matter what, a show with a bunch of a few hundred people or
five.
Yeah, five. Yeah, if you're still enjoying it and you like playing with the guys that you're with. And,
yeah.
Man, I'm sweating my ass off right now.
Yeah, no, it's
the coffee and the fan was off, and then the game changed. But
no, like I said, I know what you mean. It's just one of those things where when you're showcasing in front of record executives, you want to make sure everything's great, that they see the potential energy, but they already know that. They put you in front of thousands of people. They know you're gonna be energetic, because any musician that gets in front of that amount of people, you're going to give them a show, because you're not going to stand behind a microphone and just not do anything.
Yeah.
But we developed our shows by playing those people in front of 5 people, 10 people, and you learn to appreciate those bigger crowds even more.
Yeah, then I totally get that. What's your it's not to get off the band topic, but what's your what do you like to listen to? Or is that just a big? Is that a?
It's a
big question.
It's a big. Well, I grew up listening to, of all people, Richard Marx actually. So I was influenced by that when I started getting into rock music. I started listening to him just from a songwriter standpoint of view, and I liked his sound. I liked his voice. So I mean, growing up and learning to sing, that's who I listened to, because he had his raspy sense, he had his clean voice, but he also could write so many songs in so many different genres and formats.
Yeah.
So I mean, I listened to that, but now I listen to, oh my God, I listened to everything I was influenced so much by Live.
Dude.
Ed Kowalczyk
I'm right there with you on that one.
Ed Kowalczyk was an incredible writer, and it's sad to see them when Ed left the band and they went out as Live with this new guy.
He's good.
He's good, but he's not Ed. Ed was that band.
And the thing is we just saw them. We just saw them in fucking Ohio, and we went, and I'm thinking, okay, because I hadn't heard a thing about Live. I didn't hear anything going on about Live at all, and all of a sudden, I'm thinking, okay, well, Live's back together. I didn't know they had a new guy. I didn't know this. I just thought they're back together and they picked back up, wherever. Because they had broken up and didn't do anything for a while.
Kowalczyk, right? Kowalczyk has got the stage presence of some force that's not on this planet, I swear to God, because he's just, when he takes the stage, it's magnetic and it's electric, and it's just, you're glued to watch him do whatever he's doing on stage, but the words that he writes are just he's so intelligent, such an intelligent writer, and I appreciate that.
I'm a huge fan. I actually play a couple in my set.
Yeah.
At least 2 or 3. I do Lightning Crashes. I do
Lightning Crash.
I
Alone we cover.
Yeah.
We used to do Dolphins Cry, which I used to love playing that one. We used to do Lucchini's Juice, which is I saw him play the night before Lucchini's Juice came out. I saw him at RPI Fieldhouse, and he came out on stage, and it was the coolest thing I've ever seen a signed artist do. That he came out, it was the night, it said production work for the show. It was a pre-show shows. RPI Fieldhouse. They go, now look, Secret Samadhi's coming out tomorrow. We're playing only 4 songs out from Throwing Copper all night long. And everything else is new. The only song you guys are going to know.
Yet, you said.
Right, and our album hits tomorrow. The only song you're going to know from radio is Lucchini's Juice. that was the coolest concert, I think, to this date. Was one of the coolest concerts I ever saw. That was like, that was so freaking cool. And they didn't have all the kinks worked out of their show yet, so they had glitches, but it was cool.
Screw ups, but like good.
But
ones.
It was so cool because
healthy
like
ones.
They were healthy ones. Yeah, nobody. I mean, yeah, a trained ear would be like, "Oh, that was a wrong note. Oh, that was a wrong note." But you're like, that was the coolest show that I've ever seen translated on stage because he was just trying to find out what the song was going to do, what the set was going to do.
Yeah.
And it was so cool to this day. I still can go back to that concert and say that was one of the coolest shows I ever saw. No. But like I said, one of my other favorite artists is Fuel. Back when Brett was in the band, and Brett's back in the band now.
Can I stop you one time?
Sure.
Because I like that you brought up live, and that's what this whole thing is about. Kind of touching on that familiar area. And have you ever seen him play by himself?
Yeah.
And how was that? Did they do a lot of live songs?
It was last summer.
Because they were supposed to play at Blue and they canceled it.
Right,
and I was going to go to that with my
He played with 3 Inch Fury at a place in Oswego, and it was weird. It was a little weird, but he still got it. I've seen him play.
Why was it weird?
Because those other guys together, they provided that
what they were.
They were that vibe that was live, and
he was I Alone then.
Right, he was I Alone, but he also, and it goes back to why they called the band live, is because their live shows were just untouchable. Nobody figured out why they were able to do, because sonically they had it together. They had been on stage together so long, and they started so young.
Great songs.
And they were great, all the greats. I mean, they even stuff before Throwing Copper. I can't think of the name of the album right now, but
I'm sorry I brought
Operation Spirit. That was a great song. It was one of the first ones that hit the radio waves. And they were huge REM influenced.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they were just so great. But I saw him play acoustically, and I've seen a bunch of YouTube tracks that stripped down. When you can strip a song down and play it acoustically and have it be just dramatic and just as good as the fully produced song, you know you got a hit.
Did he do Run to the Water? Run.
Oh, he didn't do that one. And he's not the world's greatest acoustic guitar player, let me just say that. But when he sat there and he played Lightning Crashes, if you YouTube it, I think there was a place in across seas like Germany or something where he played that one. And he played, oh God, I'm trying to... He did Dolphins Cry acoustically. When you can do those songs and strip them down and just his voice carries that whole song.
And it's still really great.
And it's just like it gives you goosebumps. You know, you got talent.
I'm sorry that I brought us back to that, everyone. I am actually a big fan, and I was glad that you brought it up because I find myself talking about those guys with other people, and they're like I haven't really had that, I haven't talked with anyone in a while that was a fan like that, like I am. So
I was a huge influence of live.
We saw him, like I said, in Ohio, and he wasn't there, and I was just like, what the fuck?
It's not the same. It's not. This guy doesn't have the voice that Ed does. Ed had the presence in his voice that would just make you.
He was a weird dude too, like in a good way. Ed was a weird dude, and he did a lot like, like some of those songs were just out there, man. They were just, but I liked that. Me personally, I like that.
But you knew Ed was very educated. Ed was supposed to be. He went to school to be an attorney.
Right.
So he's very educated, very smart guy too.
So he knew what he was doing.
Yeah. But then, as I was saying before, Fuel's another one.
Yeah.
And I got to see them play at the Summerfest down at the Saranac this year, and
And now nobody is there's no original members.
Brett's the only one.
Okay.
But the songwriter was the guitar player.
And he's not.
And he's not with the band anymore.
They do have this. They do have the original singer still. Then.
Yeah, Brett's back with them playing. But to be honest with you,
I didn't know that.
And it's. I mean, I liked the other guy that filled in for Brett. I thought he was decent. He was not Brett, but he was good.
Yeah.
Some of their songs are well written, but that goes back to the songwriting. It was the songwriter from the guitar player. Now I did hear some of Brett's new stuff, and I'm not taking with it. It just is,
like solo stuff.
The stuff with Fuel, the new Fuel. They got a new album
because he's the one writing now.
Now he's the one that's writing, and it's not Fuel. It's not.
I've always been, which it's weird. It's weird that you think because like some shows and stuff, like a comedy show, like a lot of times they'll have they'll have the people who created it write it, but then they'll have like new writers come on and get the vibe, and then they'll write in the style of what they developed in the beginning. And you'd think that being in a band that it would go that way, but it doesn't seem to, it seems like it doesn't seem to happen that way if you lose your writer.
Well, you got to remember when and this goes back to the whole Van Halen theory. When an artist leaves a group, such as a lead singer, okay, what does everybody focus on when you go to a show? It's great guitar player, great bass player, but who do they focus on? They focus on the lead singer. If that personality leaves the band, it becomes a new band at that point in time. No matter what, you can have, again, you had Sammy Hagar, who was good on his own. He came into Van Halen, and I'm not going to get into the whole Van Halen controversy, but it's basically, it became a different group. When Gary Sharon, who was an Extreme, who was one of my favorite vocalists, went to Van Halen, it was nothing that I liked at all. At all. I hated that album with him on it. As a matter of fact, I remember going and getting it from Jason Clifford at the Last Unicorn.
Jason Clifford.
It's like, went in, he's like, dude, don't buy it. And I'm like, no, I gotta buy it. And he's like, I bought it. Matt and I drove around town putting posters up on a Monday night. That's what we used to do. And listened to it, like literally drove around for like half an hour and like literally went right back and said, you're right, can I have my money back? So he gave me $2 back to listen to it. He goes, I told you just to listen to it first.
Yeah.
But I wanted to give it a chance, but I couldn't take it.
No good.
But a personality.
So I didn't get to be in. Not that I'm not that I don't like Van Halen or anything, but I just never really. Maybe it's because it wasn't my time, maybe. But I tried. I haven't. Not that I don't like it, but I just haven't really got into it as much as I probably should have. Maybe even. Because I like to go back and check things out. Like, to me, I feel like if it came out already, I can always go check it out.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
I mean, I think as every vocalist goes back and they kind of focus on, like guitar players focus on guitar players, singers focus on singers. I mean, I go back. I'm influenced by everything. Anything that can move me is pretty much it. I grew up listening to Steve Perry, going, "Oh, there's no way I'm gonna freaking sing like that guy." And lo and behold, we're doing how many Journey songs? We almost became a Journey tribute at one point in time. But but Train, he's got a great voice. Pat Monahan's got an awesome voice.
Whatever happened with? I always knew the whole thing, with Steve Perry leaving the band. Why did you ever? I heard that he had like something wrong with his shoulder or something. And
he had vocal polyps, and that's pretty much a singer's worst nightmare, is when they get those. And then he was gone from the group.
Can you get him removed?
He did, but he had some lesions on him, I guess, at one point in time. And then he went out with his solo project. And then, and it's unfortunate because I think egos do play a big part in the bands too. Because I think what happened was Neil and he didn't see eye to eye on it. But there keep on rumors flying around that Journey's last tour is going to be bringing Steve Perry back. And they're going to go on a worldwide tour and do this, which I think is great. But however, I've seen
I'd like to see that.
I'd pay money to see it. But to be honest with you, I've seen video clips on YouTube of Steve Perry singing, and he can't anymore. He just can't hit the notes.
Now, do you think it's that he can't, or do you think it's that he doesn't spend enough time? Because I feel like a lot of people when they're starting to do their thing, they're younger and they're just they're trying so hard to make themselves into something that they're singing all the time. And I find when I'm singing all the time, my voice is better. I think.
Oh, I agree.
But I also think that maybe when people get a little bit older, it's maybe that they're not doing it as much. Maybe.
Well, I mean,
maybe because if I stop singing for 2 days, I have to spend at least a day
getting back into it,
and then the day after I'll be say if I have 2 days off, and then I'm playing on, then I have 2 gigs in a row, I find that I would sing better the second day because I'd be more warmed up from the night before.
Sometimes, I agree with you on that.
Depends. If you did nothing. If you did no singing at all on your own,
right.
Warming up, if you didn't do anything at all,
But I'm one of these ones where it's, I spend most of my time in the gym because I think a lot of it's got to be.
Totally.
It goes back to breath.
Breath. Oh God, all day.
If you've got breath control on things, and that's why people that do see me at the gym usually say, "You spend an awful lot of time in cardio." Yeah, because you know what? That's where I get my breath. And being on the bigger stages in the summer, I'm running around on stage, so you can't be out of breath.
So you haven't ever been a smoker then?
No. Justin Smithson, I don't know how you do it. If you listen to this right now, because Justin can smoke like 8 packs in the morning, and then
he
go
still
out and
sings
do some
great.
Morning. I'm like, how to? I usually text him after he's on the radio. I usually text him like, I still hate you, because it's like
he still sings well.
He
too.
sings so good, and it's like, dude, if you didn't smoke, I mean, seriously, it'd be that much. It'd be like Fergie and Jesus combined.
I think that it's funny though how so many singers do smoke though.
I don't know how they do.
I am actually can't believe I'm saying this right now. I've been waiting to. I never really wanted to say it, but I'm sure people know it about me, but I've been battling with it since I was probably 14, probably. And I don't smoke currently right now. I don't, but
I don't know. I
have
never,
many a time.
My grandfather had emphysema, and I made a promise to him never to smoke. So I didn't, but
That's good though.
But my problem is, and I had this a couple of years ago, and I found out after I was having some vocal issues that I did a show at the casino, and I just walked out and I couldn't sing. It closed right up, and come to find out, I have more problems with acid reflux,
Really,
than anything else, and like they
that'll fuck you up.
Oh, it really will fuck you up because you know what? Not for anything. It's one of those things where. Basically, I'm done eating. The day of a show, I can't eat after 1 o'clock if I've got a 10 o'clock show.
Yeah.
I don't.
Because it'll come back to you.
I'll make sure that I'm done eating anything, and it's usually a even lighter diet on a day of a show.
Yeah.
And, it's been working, but even Justin made the comment, he goes, how the hell have you gotten a higher range as you got older? Because I've actually been more concerned and more aware of what and I work at a lot more, actually. I spend most of my time, when I'm not, here at the office or, I'm still recording and trying to I did the Chris Cornell method. Have you ever heard that? Where you break notes?
He's probably my favorite singer.
Have you read his studies on breaking notes?
No, but I'd love to hear it.
Okay, basically what you're doing is you go to your toppest part of your range, find your falsetto, push it to be a natural note, take a day off, go back in 2 days later,
do it again,
take a day off.
I think I've done that not knowingly doing it because I did a lot of the metal stuff, and a lot of times I would do a lot of that just at practice, and then maybe have a day off or whatever, and then go back and do it again. I think I might have done it a bunch of times because I know the feeling you're talking about, but I don't think I did it consciously.
Yeah, and that's how I did it too. And then
like accidentally, and then. But anyways, go ahead.
One of my friends told me, he's like, "You're doing the Chris Cornell." What? And then I read it. I'm like, "Holy shit, that's exactly what's happening." So once you take time and focus on it,
what was it again?
It's called breaking notes, is what I call it.
Okay.
It's basically what you're going up doing. You're going up to your falsetto, the highest point of your falsetto, and you try
the highest point of your falsetto.
Falsetto, and try to go up to
smooth it
up to in your natural voice. Smooth it up.
It's hard to get.
Hard to do, but if you practice at it, it'll work.
Yeah.
And you start breaking then 1 note, 2 notes, 3 notes, and you'll find out you'll have an even bigger range as time goes on.
Yeah.
And that's basically, I found out, I'm constantly, and you'll constantly learn things about your voice that you didn't think was able to be done. Like I was sick a few weeks ago for a show, and I'm like, I couldn't even talk before the show. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this, guys. And I was throat coating, doing the treatments, putting the old Ricola in the bottle of water. I'm like, oh, that's going to be my trick. Oh, let me get through 2 songs and we'll call it quits, because it was a private party, but yeah, it was for a friend of ours that we were just doing it for. And I ended up doing stuff that it's like, Dave looked at me, he's like, how the hell did you do that? I'm like, I don't even know. It's just, you can find out once you get back into it, and you find out you're able to do things on stage that you can't really do.
Well, I find it funny too, is like you'll have that moment of time where you feel like your voice is like gone, and you try to sing like normal, but then and you're like, I can't do anything. But then it's like with the mic, you can do different things.
Yes.
That might sound like right on the mic, but if you were to do them just like this, it would be like, oh shit, man, you're not hitting that. What's the deal?
No, and that's what I find out. I found that out in the last probably 2 years. Once you start letting the mic do the work for you, and start letting your mind go elsewhere.
It'll do it too.
It'll do it.
If you can, yeah.
Because it's a muscle, and yeah, believe it or not, sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit for the fact that it'll happen, it'll work.
You gotta work it.
Some of those nights you're kind of like we make a joke if I miss it or if I start laughing or something right before a high note or something. Like my guitar player, usually the conversations that we're having on stage, if people actually heard them, they probably would never come out and watch us play. Because I looked up and he said something, and I just kind of like lost it. So I'm thinking, oh man, I'm going to hit this. I knew it was going to be a bum note at that point in time. So I just went, and when you get to a point, it's like, okay, I'll go a third below it, and it's still going to, for everybody's ears, it's going to sound like I'm hitting the note, and it's your third below.
Yeah.
You learn as you play longer and longer. You learn different things, and I learned a lot by doing acoustic shows because I could learn to add.
You can't hide behind anything in acoustic shows.
Yeah.
Even the microphone, it's like, oh man, because all it is like your voice out there, you know. And I've found that personally, because that's all I've been doing. Well, mostly what I've been doing for the past, few years, and it's just like it's forced. Again, I'm not trying to say that I'm a good singer or anything. I'm just saying I think it's forced me to be better, or to try to be at least.
When you do acoustic shows, I think that's when an artist, that's when you really learn, okay, now I'm learning how to use my voice. And that's what, I remember that's when my management company started having me do acoustic shows with my guitar player, Matt, for a while, only because they wanted me to get used to using my voice better, but also get used to playing in front of smaller crowds, because I was just nervous. You put me in front of 150, 250 people, I'm crazy. You put me in front of 2 people, I'm going to not say a damn thing.
It's weird, because they're just like looking at you.
And that's all eyes are on you. But then I built up my chops and built up my comedy chops by doing that, and learned to entertain for 2, because it's so easy to entertain in front of 100, 150. It's tough to entertain in front of 2.
When there's 2 or 5, you are actually talking to them specifically.
Yes.
You're actually having conversations with them, with the people that are there. If there's 2 or 5 or 10,
Yep.
you're literally. It's a conversation that you're all having, and you even listen to what you even you're talking back and forth, and it's just it's.
That's where your chops will come into play.
Yeah.
And then you'll appreciate those nights that you have 150, 200, 2,000 people even more.
Yeah.
Is when you have those nights that you have in front of 5.
Yeah. Yeah. I like. Are you a Chris Cornell fan?
I am to a point. I mean, his solo stuff to me was way better than the Soundgarden stuff.
See, I thought they were both pretty good.
I mean, we all grew up in that Seattle stage where it was Soundgarden, but at that point in time, my voice wasn't allowing me to do that grungy or higher Chris Cornell shit. So.
But now, though, you said you were.
Now we could do it. Now we do Spoon Man.
Some of the shit he does, though, even if you're doing the warm ups and shit. I mean, it's just. I'm not saying you in particular, but one who sings. Like I don't know how he does some of the shit.
If I'm doing Spoon Man, okay, we're doing Spoon Man, and we're not going to play that song the next night because that, for some unknown reason, it's just a tough song. It's a
workout, yeah.
It's a workout vocally, but it's a workout breath wise. I mean, you got to have so much control over it, and he does. Nobody realizes as a singer he's got so much control over that.
He has. I don't know. I saw some of the old. What do you call it? Some of the documentaries of the music of that time, and everybody was like, I don't know how the hell he did that. Like they were like, where did you get all that from? And just the control that he had, and the what he can do, and where it came from, and it's weird because it's definitely those are chops. Those are real.
He's the man when it comes to that stuff. And I remember Mike Borgia, who used to be in Floating Noah. He was the only kid that I knew had that kind of voice and that kind of chops to do that stuff. Even to this day, Mike is still one of those ones that's like, you got that Chris Cornell sense that you're lucky,
I do 2 Chris Cornell songs. Well, I do 2 Audio Slave songs. I sing them, and I don't, just like you said, I don't do when I'm feeling in the mood for it, I'll do them both right next to each other. I'll do I Am the Highway, and then what's the other one? They did Like a Stone, but
Yep.
I'll do Like a Stone a half step up higher than it is because that's what he did acoustic. So I'm doing like that acoustic version of it, and I won't do them. I'll do them that night, or I'll play a couple gigs before that, and then I'll do it if I'm feeling like I'm nice and ready to be there. Or I'll do them like the one night, and then I won't do them again because it'll just be like it's so like so much work afterwards. I'm like, I just want to stop playing now because it's like to do that.
Back in the day, I went to see, and we're lucky to have Fran Cosmo in this area, but I remember we used to go see Fran Cosmo play acoustic.
He's quite a high singer.
Sick. He would play Turn Me Loose by Loverboy.
Yeah.
A whole step higher than that, and I would just sit there and completely be in marvel going, oh, how's he doing that? That's a whole
crazy.
step.
That's
not
crazy.
even half a step. That's a whole step higher. It's like, dude, it's bad enough, and when he gets up to the, I gotta do that, and he did that really high. I mean, it was so, I thought it was going to shatter glass.
Yeah. He is definitely nasty, definitely insane as far as the high stuff too. And I wonder what his method is. If
I don't
there is
know.
one.
I mean,
Probably similar. Probably a lot of that
I've talked to
breaking into it. You know?
I've talked to his son Anthony
Because their
numerous
voices
times.
aren't like, their speaking voices aren't like super high.
No, and then you come across singers that that I know. I'm not going to say names, that they get upset. It's like, hey man, what's going on? I can't talk. I got to spin later. What's wrong with you? Why don't you spit it out? It's like not for anything. Really, you're singing like 2 songs. Really? I just.
There's in the wintertime sometimes it'll happen to me where and I'll never not, even if I'm not supposed to, even if I'm like, listen, my voice is gone and I know that if I don't talk it'll be better.
Right.
I still do. I always do. I can't not do it. It's like,
It's like I take a day. These singers say, yeah, some days I just do vocal rest. No, you don't. I don't. Are you kidding me? Sometimes actually, because I have to work Mondays and I'm on the phone 95% of the time is one of my businesses.
Yeah.
So Sunday might be a little raspy, but I may lay off talking a lot. But then I don't take a day off from talking. I mean, I'm sure there's people that would like me to take a day off from talking, but by Monday, some of my performers and clients will come and call in and say, "You sound terrible. You got a cold?" No, I sang 3 shows in a row, and it's just I push through it. So
I find instead of not talking and not singing at all, it's how you do both.
right.
You can do them all the time if you're doing them the way you're supposed to.
I had a vocal teacher at one point in time say that I'm a throat talker, which is probably true. That's probably why I have burnout on my voice sometimes. So
Yeah. It doesn't seem like it. It doesn't. I mean, it doesn't sound too like harsh. You know what I mean? Like, because a lot of you say that isn't that what they would say as a throat talker? Was what they're really using like their whole shit to talk.
yeah. My problem is, like I said, the acid reflux, and I like too many spicy things. That's the problem.
Love it.
I mean, down to the point where you can't even have wine after 5. Like, yeah, bullshit.
Hold on a sec. So, like wine, will give you that really bad then?
They said that it's part of the acid reflux thing that they don't want you drinking wine, and it's too bad because I really started getting into wines over the last year and a half. So
That's what really gets you a buzz. I think if.
well, there was a show just recently that we played, and actually, the guitar player and I have gotten so, especially when you play the casino, we go to the dressing room and we have 2 hours to sit and just shoot the bull. So what are you shooting the bull over? You're shooting the bull over bringing your own wine, and we're sitting there, and I remember him. Brought a red blend wine, I think it was, and he had made the comment to me, he's like, "Dude, you better lay off because your voice don't want it to get too much." I'm like, "Really, dude? I've only had 1 and 2 beers," and at that point in time, I remember going on stage by that point in time, and I had a light buzz on it. And it's like, I look to him, I go, dude, did we drink that much up in the dressing room? He's like, I'm cocked. I'm like, oh, fantastic. This is a great way to start the show. So
Yeah, but have you ever had those days where you ate and drank whatever you want, and then by the time you got to singing, it was still fine?
Yeah.
But then those days where you barely went off of what you planned on, and it was all fucked up.
I still think it's got something to do with, the air and everything outside, too. I mean, it depends, it's coming into the fall season. Summer season is usually my range is the toppest, and
Mine too. It's
peak.
the highest it can be, and then like right before winter, it's just like it gets a little weird, and there's always some kind of little bit something going on, and it's a little rougher. And then winter, I'm like, I can't sing anymore.
Yeah,
I can't fucking sing anymore. And then I'm like telling bands, I'm like, oh fuck it, lower everything down, half step or a whole step. And then by the time spring comes around, it's
it always comes back. I mean, I remember doing the AHL All-Star Party, and we'd done 2 shows just before that, and between being 2 shows in a row, this is the 3rd show, and just being sick with a cold. And I'm going, oh, crap. I called Gary. I'm like, Gary, get down here. What are you doing? I'm sitting at home. Yeah, get down here. You might have to sing a couple songs. And at that point in time, they're paid to secretly page, so I was like, okay, I really can't be gone off stage too much. I'll push my way through it. And I just, basically, when I start losing my voice, the entertainment portion of the show goes up, because usually I'm making more jokes, being more entertaining, because I'm losing my voice and I don't have that to lean back on. So I become, okay, let's make this even more entertaining. And usually that's the part of the night where I'm just,
make it fun, yeah,
busting chops. Or, at that point in time, I remember there were a couple nights that Pat Orlowski had played with us, and he's like, hey, who wants to dance with Pat? It kind of, it's like, you go back and he's like, what are you doing there, kitten? Get back there. And she'd be 350 pounds. And pulling them out of the crowd and calling them kitten is kind of funny. And those are the nights that Dave usually takes and turns around and takes a picture of these 350-pound women dancing behind Pat. He usually takes a picture of it and sends it to him the following 10 weeks on a Tuesday going, dude, remember this night? That was fun. I like it when Tim loses his voice. So.
Well, I mean, it's still, at least you still have, because a lot of it is if you go up there and you kill it and you sing amazing and play amazing all night long, sometimes that's not enough, I think, for bands.
That over the years.
Yeah.
You can give a great show, but if you're not entertaining, they don't care. If you don't interact with the people, back when we first started doing the casino, we were thinking, oh, great, this is the casino. I get to take it to a different realm and kind of be, sometimes this casino down here, they've just lost a boatload of money. They want misery. And we get called up for a lot of basically bachelorette parties.
It's almost like they want you to do what you've been doing, what you've...
Well, the bars have made it so I can handle hecklers. So, and I work with a bunch of insult comics out of New York City that we've written a bunch of stuff together that will, I can bring somebody to their knees crying if I really need to do this at this point in time. But I don't really, that's not me, but when I used to play with Jeffrey was always, we had the shtick going on, like the Smothers Brothers was like, I'm the serious one. I'm the one that's going to put on the show. He was the joker. He knew where to put the jokes in, when to put the jokes in, and pick on me. And it would work. The whole thing would work. Is people, how do you stand it? You don't get it. It's the entertainment portion of it. He was funnier than hell, and you were just taking it and you sing your ass off. It's right because the two of them meshed and worked well together.
It's the whole.
So together, it was entertainment. So when Jeffrey left the band, I had to figure out, I got to be entertainment. I got to be both. So I worked with a lot of my comedians out of New York. I got a lot of jokes to draw from, and I knew how to. I watch a lot of comedy stuff, so it's basically you gotta be entertaining and have fun with it, and that's basically make your personality show. And that's one thing that I've been fortunate enough to do is some people like the personality, some people don't, but it's a personality I play on stage, and once I walk off stage, I can just start the switch off. You and I've talked about that. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of my friends that it's like. They're that performer that you see on all the time on stage.
Yep.
Me, I'm able to say, there's Stage Tim, and then there's Clark Kent.
It's not even off stage Tim.
It's just stage Clark Kent. It's Superman and Clark Kent, and it's basically I'm able to shut the switch off. But I'm glad I am because if I had to be that guy on stage all the time, I'd probably give myself a heart attack. To the point where it's like I don't want to do that. You're just closing up next door.
So we're getting invaded.
You gonna be here for a while, man?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
But yeah, I know it's see that's I think with me I think I'm still in the I'll get obsessed sort of with being a little bit of the or with finding that stage persona and then almost trying to figure out a way to turn it off. You know what I mean? Like because if you like try to develop it so much, you almost get caught up in it, and you have to. It's like it's weird.
Justin Smithson was the one that actually brought it up. He's like, you have people that love you. I said, it's good. You gotta have people that love you or hate you. And he goes, people don't understand. It's the role you play. You've got it down to the point where you can shut it off. But some people know you out in public as that guy,
Right?
that's on stage. But he goes, I know you as off stage, Tim. And he goes, you're too different. I said, do you really want me to be that guy on stage all the time? Because I don't want to be that guy on stage all the time. And it's like why it's
a good place
to have
for some people to know.
Yeah, but it's good to have this kind of stuff because it's like I'm not that guy on stage. Usually when I start dating a girl, it's like you're totally different on stage. Yeah, why did you think I was going to be that guy all the time? No, you got to have that separation. I'm a private person when it comes to off-stage stuff with my daughter and the company. It's like I'm lucky to have that I can go on stage and have that outlet and then come back to reality.
Yeah, that's good though. That it's good that you're able to do it though, and be able to have the. And I guess it's a good day if anyone was wondering about that, then maybe they can hear it on here, and they're like, oh, that's what's going on.
That's what's going on. It's a part that he plays out there. Yeah, it's David Lee Roth on stage.
We're doing the kicks and everything too.
I don't think I could get those kicks up. I mean, we did Taste of Syracuse out in this last year, and it was awesome. I mean, we got in front of when we played. It was in front of 10,000, and Chucky Love was the production manager at that one, and we do so many shows with them over summertime that I remember falling backstage. As I was talking about Clark Kent, Tim. I fell backstage before we went on. I don't touch a microphone until I walk on stage, but I literally tripped and was out on the ground, all fours, backstage. And I just turned back, and he's shaking his head going, no, only you would fall backstage. And I said, you know what this means, don't you?
What?
And he's like, I said, I tripped over your electrical thing. That's a hazard. He goes, none of my guys have tripped over it. Meanwhile, his guy rolls something off and does the same thing I do. I go, see? And I go, you know what this means? He goes, it means you're going to do something stupid. He said, it means I'm not going to fall on stage now. That means I can do anything. I can be Superman on stage now. He goes, call it. I go, see the sound tower way out in front? I'm going to climb it.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I climbed it, got to the top, and realized, holy shit, I got to get down now. How the hell am I going to do that? But
that's the hard part.
That's the hard part. But he had made the comment. He's like, from afar, I could see him with his arms crossed, shaking his head, going, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm a freaking dead man when I get back to this stage. And once I got back there, he goes, dude, that was the coolest thing I've ever seen you do in how many years I've known you. I'm like, really? So, but the next day when I got the call from the production manager that, did you climb the sound tower? I'm like, yeah, I climbed the sound tower.
Yeah.
And he goes, why? I go, well, it's because, I fell backstage and I wanted to prove myself that I'm Superman on stage, but totally Clark Kent off stage. And yeah, it was pretty dumb. I shouldn't have done that, but I did it anyways. So
yeah, you gotta do it. You gotta do stuff like that anyways.
Well, it's in front of 10,000 people. That, as we talked about before, you have to see a show.
Right.
So you give them something that they're going to remember. Yeah, they remember the fact that I climbed the sound tower right now.
Right.
They probably couldn't tell you what songs we sang, but oh yeah, that's the idiot that climbed the sound tower 65 feet in the air.
Yeah, but hey, it's always about something, you know what I mean?
Well, it's like there was a picture I posted on Facebook today.
So I think I was in. Oh, I'll tell you after. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
It was a picture I posted on Facebook today back when we played Blue. You know how those things come up with. You have a memory from 3 years ago, and it showed
I haven't had that happen on my page at all.
It showed me climbing the Blue that trussing system that they had at Blue or whatever the hell it was called, Holly Rock, and I said, I put up there, I'm like, oh my God, I remember this. I remember spending most of my time climbing something in those days than being on stage. And sure enough, somebody goes, you did spend more time climbing something than actually being on stage. And it was just, you know.
Were you singing too? You had one hand with the mic?
I would like literally climb to the top of it. There was one night I climbed to the top of it and walked across the top to the other side, and then slid down to the bottom, sticking my microphone in the back pocket and sliding down. Yeah, I was always doing something daredevilish. So
see, and we played. This is a story about that, which did not go well. I remember we played in a theater in Oneonta, I believe, and I think it was for the Blue Oyster Cult show when we opened for them. And I think I jumped. There was like this jump down thing, and I remember I was down there and I wanted to jump back up, but I knew it. I'm like, I can't do it. I don't think I can jump back up gracefully. And I remember I was like trying to act like I could do it, or trying to act like I knew, where I was going to go, whatever. But really, I was thinking about where I could get back on, like a stairway or something, because I'd like jump down and it was like maybe a little higher than waist, and I like wanted to like jump up gracefully, and I was like, I was looking at him like, I don't know, and I think I did. I think I looked for a stairway or something, but because I'm a big guy. I didn't want to screw that up. Like, oh my God, did you see him fall? Because I have fallen on stage before.
Oh, I've fallen on stage or tripped or slid. There was one night I was
People
singing.
always remember that.
And there was one night I was singing, and this is years ago in a band, and I was singing, and it was a wet floor. It was the middle of winter, and I came up and I went to jump, and I slipped, and I fell right on my back. I never missed a beat singing, the bass player said. You just kept on singing. Meanwhile, the pain in the back of my head was going, holy crap, I think I broke my back. And it was just, I just kept on going. And then afterwards, I was like, I think somebody tried to take me to the doctor. I think I did something to my hip in the process. And this is years ago. But probably one of the better shows that I've done, Roscoe. Leave it to Roscoe. Roscoe used to work for us and be on the payroll. And we played K-Rock Jingle Ball years ago. And it was Marcy Playground, Splendor, Little Black Backpack Group, Stroke 9.
I'm sweating here right now.
I know. And I remember Roscoe has always had my back as far as getting everything on stage with the road crew and everything. And
he's always good with that.
It came up to the end of the set, and Believe was on the radio, and K-Rock was spinning the shit out of it. And that was why we were playing it, was because, we were already on the record label. Our CD was supposed to be coming out, and so we went up to do the song, and just before that, they came up and said, "You're done, all done. Cut the sound tower." I'm like, "Well, we haven't played the song that's on the radio yet." Then, because you always end your set with the song that's on the radio.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, wait a minute. And it's like, I go up to Roscoe. What do you want me to do? Meanwhile, you got, I don't know, Chuck Cheo and all these guys, and over huddled on the side with their arms crossed, going, I'm going, holy hell, I'm going to get my butt kicked when I get off stage. I said to Roscoe, he goes, do the song, toss me your mic, and then jump out in the crowd. I'm like, what? No, I don't stage dive stuff. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. He goes, just trust me. Meet me out in back, go around in the front past the security guards, meet me out in back, and I'm going to hide you until everything blows over. So we went to the song, did the song. They were going to try to cut the sound at the tower. After the song, throw the mic to Roscoe. He goes, meet me out in back. I ran out in front and ran along the bouncers, got around the back. He hid me in the truck so they would calm down and diffuse it. And then Roscoe found me. He's like, see, everything's taken care of. There's Tim right there. And it's like, he goes, I diffused the whole thing. I'm like, okay, whatever, kind of thing. But that was Roscoe back in the day, that he was just, there was those kind of shows that you'd be like, if they'd had me get back on stage, even as good shape as I was back there, I wasn't getting back on stage. This thing was up to my freaking neck. I wasn't going to jump back on stage at this point in time. So.
And trying to do it would be like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's like, I'm going to look stupid doing this. I ain't doing it.
It's like, you might even, on a good day be like, yeah, I totally could do it. But you just, you like want to know exactly what it would feel like to do before you actually go and do it, or even kind of pull yourself up a little bit. But nobody wants to see you do that. Nobody wants to see you practice
just
it.
Just like the Saranac, the infamous 2 tables out in front every time Gridley Page plays, picnic tables. We played Saranac since the very first one, which was 18 years ago. We played it. Used to be three times a year, under one tent, the beer tent, everything is under one. And it goes back to the fact of I used to stand on the tables back then. Well, over the years, we put it in front, and none of the other bands were allowed to do it because I put it in the contract. That was my shtick.
Yeah.
Because one year I did it, I fell off the table and like literally straddled the thing and like pretty much took out my crotch and basically landed on it sideways. Had bruises up and down my leg afterwards, but it's like that was the joke. It's like Tim always asked for the tables out in front, and it was a joke at first, but then it became Tim's always going to ask for those tables out in front now, just to see. But even Lee to this day, who organizes it, she usually will sit there and go, "Just don't break your leg like the one time." I said, "I never broke my leg. I broke other parts instead." But it's those kind of things that are embarrassing, that you fall down and you go, "Crap, I got to get back up," and I might be singing soprano now because that hurt like hell.
And you got to live with that and still keep doing your thing.
Keep doing your thing.
Yeah.
It's fun though. It's like I said, the adrenaline gets popping and going at that point in time, and it's like, hey, you get through it.
Yeah, you get through it. You get excited about it, I think, too. And
when you're playing in front of that many people, your adrenaline's going so much, you might come off stage going, "Where's my arm? Oh yeah, it fell off.
Yeah, I don't have it anymore.
I rocked too hard."
I got to meet with Mr. Matt Osowski in a minute here to shoot some more. Well, we're not shooting. We're just editing, which I'll tell him. I'll tell him to contact you. But I do want to touch on one thing quick before we go, and I think to me this is something that I think is always good. It's like we were talking about that story. Excuse me. One thing I always like to touch on in the interviews, which I always think is something. I guess maybe people like that part of it, but I personally like this part of it a lot, where I basically ask, when was the first time you performed music in front of someone and you loved it and you were just like, I want this to be part of my life forever?
Oh God, I think it was. I'll go back to, because it's singing. I played drums since I was 4. Took lessons.
Do you still play drums at all?
Very seldom. I don't.
Because jazz drums is not a joke.
It wasn't. It's very rudimental. It's very intricate. It's and I think that's where I just didn't have the time to discipline to practice. I just time-wise, it doesn't allow me to play like that anymore. Every now and then I've got a set at my house that I'll sit down and play behind it, but I will not play out in public. I did that about 2 years ago.
Played in public?
Yeah. Drums, and just kind of sat behind it and played through a rock song. I'm like, I know I got out of the drum part of it. I got tired of it. But probably the first time that I actually performed was a musical in school. There was a music teacher, and the reason why I am a vocalist still is indifferent. I had a music teacher, the freshman, geeky kid in school I was, and he had a singing class, and he was a rock guy, and he had us sing a Barry Manilow song called Another New Year's Eve. I remember the song, and he sat there, and he had us each individually do this. I went to a small school. Each individually had to do it.
Perform the song?
To perform the song, and I sang. And he goes, "Tim, I want you to stay after class." I thought, oh my God, I did something wrong.
Now, when you said each person do this, are you saying in front of all the rest of the kids?
All the rest of the kids.
So everyone had to listen to each other do it?
Right.
Wow.
And it was really not all the kids were
intense.
singers. It was intense. He was trying to get us all to bust out of our shells, is basically what he was.
And to break that uncomfort,
that
or the discomfort.
Yeah, exactly. And he told me, he's like, "I want you to try out for the High School Musical." I said, "I'm in 7th grade, I can't." He's like, "You can, and you're going to."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "I don't know, I got to ask my mom and dad." And he's like, No, you are going to. He said,
Just
"Trust
doing
me."
it.
It was a Charlie Brown musical, and at that point in time, I was Charlie Brown. So he tried me out. I got the lead, and then he really took a focus on me. And the reason why I'm doing what I do is because he focused on it. I would have practice at 7 o'clock in the morning to 8 vocally, and he would train me that way. He'd take me out in the football field. It was like Rocky for voice. And he would take us out on, he goes,
Singing
"I want
in the
you
morning? That sucks.
Singing in the morning." And you'd think I'd be better at that in the morning, but I'm not. He used to take me out into soccer
That's hard
field.
singing in the morning. Maybe not so much as a kid, but
he didn't teach me to sing as much as to project.
oh,
And the reason how he taught me to project, he goes, I want you to speak your lines, and I don't because I want to hear them. I want you to project. I don't want you to scream. And
you just want to be louder.
I want you to be loud. I want you to know how to project and know how to do that. And he taught me that way to the point where when I went into the studios, when we recorded in Hall & Oates studio, and their producer sat there and listened to it, he's like, your voice is peaking everything out. Can you back off? I'm like, I'm standing on the other side of the room. I'm not doing anything loud. He goes, you know how you got a very powerful voice. I need you to tone it back. I'm like, I don't know how now. It's like, but he trained
that is
me.
weird too to come out of that. To be in that a lot and then to try to come back.
Because I was a theatrical singer in theater, and to be able to, but that's where I got my chops. That's where I got, might not have had the range, but I knew how to project.
Right.
And I think that's where I really learned that I had a love for performing, is doing that musical in 7th grade. He took this kid who was always quiet, and put him in front, and put him in the limelight,
and hearing everybody clapping and
hearing everybody clapping, but just loving.
Were you like, this is
what I want to
awesome.
do? As a matter of fact,
great.
At that point in time, I went to Juilliard to look at going to school there, and I think I got more intimidated by going to Juilliard than if I didn't, because I think that was the thing that kind of like sat me down and goes, oh no, I watched a kid get like annihilated for playing piano wrong, which it was his 3rd instrument that he played, and I was like completely blown away. Thought it was his major instrument, and just at that point in time, like, oh, I don't have that in me to get ripped apart by some classical teacher.
Yeah.
So I think that's when I came back home and I started playing sports at that point in time. I was a sophomore at that point in time, and then you discover girls and kind of figure out. But
then everything goes to shit for a
while.
while.
Then everything goes for shit for a while, because it's like, hey, listen, it's all about the girls instead of anything else.
And then you're like, oh wait, I can get back into that music thing.
But I would go. But the best part was I could play piano, I could play drums, I could sing, and I basically learned all these Journey songs. I played Richard Marx songs. And I would go to booze parties and play Richard Marx songs and have girls come around and sing around me as I would play these Richard Marx songs, and have all the jock boyfriends wanting to kick my ass because all their girlfriends were hanging out with me at this point in time, because I'm playing all these mushy, Bon Jovi-ish kind of songs that are ballad stuff. And that's all I would learn, is all the ballads. I wouldn't learn anything else like Piano Man or anything. Hell no. I would learn all the stuff that would be, oh, that's that song that's on the radio that's all gay. Because I knew it would get chicks. So that was basically,
I knew you'd like it.
I knew the girls would like it. I don't care if the football players and everybody hated it. It's like, my dude is not out to impress you. But that's the kind of philosophy I took when it came to when I started playing as a lead singer. Is like, listen, I knew if it was going to get the girls out, the guys are going to come out automatically.
Yeah.
It didn't matter if, there's the ugliest lead singers on the face of the planet, Chad Kroeger from Nickelback. I mean, seriously. But he can write a song, as much as I hate to say it, that attracts the girls, and that's why they're successful.
I'm definitely not a Nickelback fan, but one thing I will say is they actually really do. I don't know if
they're all the same songs if you listen to them.
Sure, that's probably true.
Chord structure-wise, they're all the same.
But I heard one little thing I do want to say about them, which I'm not necessarily sticking up for them, right? Well, a little bit in a sense of, that's definitely not my kind of music, and I'm not saying anything negative about them, but it's not my thing. But anyways, there was a Jerry Cantrell interview that I heard. Mm-hmm. Or something like that. I think it was something about Jerry Cantrell going on stage with Nickelback, and they were like, "Oh, you're going on stage with Nickelback." Jerry Cantrell of Alice in Chains, and going on Nickelback, and they're like, "Oh, go," and he said, "You want to know why I went on stage with Nickelback? Because they play their asses off, and they are really good at what they do, and he really enjoyed doing that, and he was just, I figured if he said that, it must have been true. And that probably maybe that story didn't need to come in right now, but I feel like
it makes sense. I mean,
I'm a big Chains fan, and if Chains says it's cool, then
like I said, I don't like their music, but I respect them because they've got how many hits on the radio?
Which one, Chains or Nickelback?
Nickelback.
Oh yeah.
They got how many songs?
I'm a Chains fan, but not a Nickelback fan.
Yeah, not a Nickelback fan. I don't get it.
Especially like because it was kind of cool at first, and then it just completely. Which I feel like if you go out and you set out to do a certain thing, and you're like, "This is what we are," and it doesn't matter what it is. But then all of a sudden you're like, well, it's not working, and then you just do a complete 180, and which I mean we all have to do that. I guess
we all
sometimes.
do that until you find it, because we all want to sell records. And basically,
We do.
That's basically why we do some of the things we do. We flip flop it instead of being true to who
Experimenting,
we are.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, sometimes I like, it's good when I was writing with Russ back in the day. Russ wrote a lot of the songs. But to get into his mindset and really understand, there were some twisted songs he wrote that I really had to, when I recorded that album, I remember being completely soaking wet from the exhaustion of just having to think the part and live the part. Because if you're a singer too, you still have to be an actor in the role of which you were feeling emotionally in that song to get it to come across.
Yeah.
And his songs were a little psychotic when they first came out, I'll be honest with you. It's like I went through every emotion reaching down deep inside for that.
It's draining.
But the Believe album was poppy. I wrote the album in 2 weeks. And I knew every emotional breakup song that I wrote them. So,
right.
But to write with somebody else and getting their influence on things,
it's weird.
It's weird, but there's some elements that I like it.
Yeah. I haven't. That's one thing I haven't done that yet. I haven't. I guess filled any shoes before. Like I didn't come into a project ever, and not that I'm not saying I wouldn't. I'm just saying I haven't went into something. I'm not saying that you were doing that, but you were sort of filling the or putting out the emotional situation that he was
that he was feeling
displaying. Or you were displaying the emotional, his feelings, and trying to get in that headspace.
And it was tough because a lot of the songs were written by his mother, she was institutionalized. So it was like, Russ, really? I mean, there was a song I remember that was about rape. There was a song that was, there was just some messed up crap on there.
Shit that went down.
Like, I never lived that, but it's like I felt like I was raped at one point in time because emotionally it was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
It was definitely out there. But it was cool. There was elements of definitely.
It's rock and roll, man.
But that was back in the 90s, and then like I said, when Believe came out, it was late 90s, and it was just everything was pop genre at that point in time. It was about 99, 2000. I think 2000 was when the record came out. It was back when Lit was out, Eve 6 was out, and Goo Goo Dolls were big. That's basically the way...
Green Day, maybe.
That was basically what we sounded like. We sounded like a cross between Goo Goo Dolls and Lit. Is basically what our sound was at that point in time. Now, if you sat me down and say, okay, what's your sound like now? I could tell you probably mine's more adult contemporary, more like in the lines of Vertical Horizon, gone back to my roots of what I started with Richard Marx and kind of stuff like that. And over the last couple of years I lost my dad to cancer. I lost a stepdaughter that was to be, who died tragically in an accident. That, I've had those experiences to draw from now. So right now I've lived life a little bit more, where I probably can actually put words behind something with a lot more meaning. And the songs probably would have a lot more substance to them. Would everybody get them? Probably not. I remember writing a song called Take Me Away, which was about talking to... Everybody thought it was the simplest love song. It wasn't a love song. It was about me going to sleep talking to my grandfather who passed away in my dreams. Right. That was the song was about. Every single girl thought it was a love song. It's not a love song. But this is the beautiful thing about songs in general, is that music is interpreted any which way. It could mean something to somebody.
And it's nice to have that when you do have a specific meaning of what the song is about, but then you can, you personally, the person who wrote it, can have a specific meaning of what the song is about, but it can be interpreted other ways.
I'm glad I wrote in a vague sense, I guess, that it can be interpreted in several different terms.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, that's, a lot of songs are like that,
Yeah.
I think that's, I think it's not a bad thing at all. I think it's,
No.
it's a good thing. It's hard to make that work sometimes, especially if you're trying to do that.
I wasn't even trying to. That's just it. Some of the best stuff that I've written is stuff I was not even trying to do.
Yeah.
It came out, like I said, the Believe record was written, actually it was written in 2 days and recorded within 2 weeks.
It's funny how like songs will come out like when you're not even maybe even in the mood to write one, but it's just like, well, that sounds like a song. I think I'm putting that down on some piece of paper, or you record it on whatever you have, and you're like, oh shit, I guess I wrote the song,
Well, it's just like all the stuff that I was very complex and written it with a sense of, the lyrics were really in depth. And then when I started writing into pop sense, everything's got to be simplistic format, where everything's going to be, the big hook, the verses that had some substance to it. And like I said, I keep on going, they weren't as good as those songs that I wrote that I thought were more in depth.
Yeah.
But the ones that the public likes are the ones that is like, yay, let me get drunk and throw a beer around.
Yep. Well, I don't mean to cut you short. I had a great. We actually were talking for a little while before this, just about music and just having a good conversation before we started. I'm like, we might actually start. I'm like, save that for the interview. But thank you so much, Tim, for coming,
for having me.
or not for coming.
You came up to my office.
I came into the office and I sweat the whole time, literally.
Yeah, now I'm actually starting to sweat.
I see him over there. He's like a little shiny now. But thanks for coming on Music and Beyond, and I had a great time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, man.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
As always.
And now Matt Ozowski is going to probably be pissed at me. But what are you going to do?
No,
we got to do the work.
All right, there it is. There's the interview with Tim Moyer, and like I said, it's 2019 now, and this was in 2015 August, and we got lots of good ones coming up, and I hope you can check them out. Thank you.